I'm going to give you a few snapshots of ethical conundrums I have confronted. First of all, I'm in Macedonia during the war in Kosovo. Tens of thousands of ethnic Albanians have been forced from their homes. They have shelter in squalid refugee camps just across the border near Skopje. It's early spring, it's cold, it's very wet. They left their homes with nothing, traveling as far as they could in their cars, sometimes trains or buses, and then walking on foot, crossing mountains. Families got split apart. Children and grandparents couldn't keep up and got left behind. I'm interviewing them in order to tell the world what happened to them. It's crucial to get their story out fresh and unadorned. Various governments, including Canada's, are debating whether or not to intervene in Kosovo, to send troops. But they're not really sure what's going on. Inside Kosovo, we have documented ethnic cleansing. This reporting could tip the balance. We give these people whatever we have. So we have some food, some extra socks, we have some water. But what they want most is to use our cell phones to try and call their loved ones they've left behind or lost along the way. They have life and death issues. We need our battery power for our stories. What's the priority? We decide not to share the mobiles. I'm in a village, or what's left of it, in southern Sudan during the Civil War. We're covering the story of a Canadian oil company, and we have documented evidence that the regime in Khartoum is using the oil company's airstrips from which to launch lethal assaults on civilians, and they have the cooperation of that oil company. Many villages have already been burnt to the ground. The people we interview fear that will be their fate, as do we. Our plane is leaving just before the helicopter gunships are scheduled to arrive. We're with Doctors Without Borders. They need to get us out to tell the story of what's going on here. We know the space we take on the plane could be used to evacuate others. We take the places, and we report on the atrocities. We're told the village survived. I'm in Cairo with a TV crew. We're interviewing Sudanese refugees who fear arrest and torture if they're caught. We arrange meetings discreetly over the phone, but by the time we arrive, the person has disappeared. In some cases, they warn us quickly in advance not to come. The police are suddenly watching them since we called. So what do? We don't want to put them in danger. But a number of them want to talk. They want their stories out. They are compelled to tell their stories. We arrange clandestine meeting locations. The 3 people in my crew, we leave the hotel, and we all go in different directions, and we shake those who are following us. We get the interviews, and now we have tapes with incriminating evidence. With some subterfuge, we get the tapes out of the country. But we have taken an enormous risk with people's lives. I'm in Kandahar, Afghanistan. We're trying to expose the opium production that's a major criminal enterprise in Afghanistan. We hire several cars, and we take an armed escort. We find a poppy farmer who is willing to talk. Does he really understand the implications? The Taliban will not be happy if he meets us. Why has he agreed? It's a very important story for us. It could affect political decisions in this war. I look over and I can see in the distance that we're being watched. In a heartbeat, I decide that we're going to shut down this shoot and we're going to leave. I tell everyone to get into the vehicles immediately. We're going. We have a security expert with us who is armed, and he thinks I'm wrong. But I'm not worried about our safety. I'm worried about the farmer. My cameraman says we can hide his identity, but everyone in the village will know he spoke with us. The excursion to the poppy field was very expensive. We risked everyone's lives to get there, and we leave with nothing to show for it. To this day, I have no idea if that was the right decision. But there are so many occasions when I left people behind to an uncertain fate. The child slaves who pick cocoa pods to make into chocolate, who are beaten and locked up at night. The refugees huddled in the woods, hiding from those who would ethnically cleanse them from their villages. Fixers and contacts who made difficult stories possible. And so many times I wanted to intervene, to cross the line and become involved in their lives. On those occasions, my impulse was to bundle people up and take them with me, to abandon the assignment and to get involved in the lives of others, to turn sources into rescue operations. But I knew that my priority was to report their story. The best thing I could do for any of these people was to perform my task as a journalist. Except for those moments when we were able to do some small gesture that didn't interfere or alter the story we were telling, to offer some food or water, a bit of cash, I stayed focused on the task at hand. That finally proved impossible. I was eventually, and perhaps inevitably, forced to finally cross the line that separates the reporter from her story.